Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is October the 1st, 2022, and we are continuing our study on the Passover. We left off at Exodus 12, I think it was. I think we left off at Exodus 13, but I wanted to say a few words about Exodus 12. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's read this again. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast, and against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgment. I am the Lord. So it's only against the firstborn to draw the picture of the Israelites being first in judgment. So we, of course, are his firstborn. It says that. I don't know where it says it, but let's just take a wild guess. Maybe Exodus 3 or 4. It said, Israel is my firstborn. No. Let's just do a search. Let's go back. Firstborn. We'll search that in Exodus quick. Oh, it is in Exodus 4. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. So judgment, of course, first is going to come to... Yeah, you know what? Let's leave it at that. It's not that important. So judgment of first comes to Israel. So he's going to pass through at midnight to execute judgment against the firstborn. And the blood shall be unto you for a token upon the houses where you go, where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. Okay. This is going to be a little bit tricky to explain, but we have examples in the Bible, which we've already discussed a little bit when we went through Leviticus. Leviticus has shown me a lot, believe it or not. I hope it's shown you a lot as well, because, I mean, there was a lot of pictures in there that had to be understood in order for us to discern what was true and what was not true. So, one of the things that we looked at, and we're going to look at again, is we looked at, you know what, let's just go there now. I've got it in our list somewhere, actually. No, I know where it is. We're just going to go look again. This is going to be repeat for some of you at the procedures for the leper. This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper, then shall the priest command to take for him, that is to be cleansed, 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. As for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them, and the living bird, in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose unto the open field. And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, and shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp, and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days. But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all his hair off his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair, he shall shave off, and he shall wash his clothes. Also he shall wash his flesh in water, and he shall be clean. And he's going to be clean, but then they start making offerings and stuff, which, I mean, he could make a thanks offering. I don't believe any of these offerings, but he can make a thanks offering because he's clean now. He's clean. So 7 days for him to be clean, number one. And then the reason why we came here is the sprinkling of blood. Because the first thing that the priest was commanded to do was to check and see if he was already clean. The priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper. So he had to already be healed before he went through the cleansing process. The cleansing process is only a token to the people that he is clean, so they don't have to fear him. They don't want to have to be afraid of being hit with the plague, or in our case, being sinned against or treated badly. We want peace. We want to be happy. So this person symbolically is a sinner, basically. But no one knows that but God. Him and God are the only people that know. Well, you know, and he's probably skeptical. So the priest would inspect him, and then they would go through this procedure, but the blood would be sprinkled on him so that the people could see that he was clean as a token. That's the same thing that we see in Exodus. In Exodus, it says the blood is going to be a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. It's going to be the angel that he sends down, the destroying angel that he sends down to kill the people. But he's going to have the angel pass over that house because of the token that's placed upon the door. Those people have been given time, a restoration time, to make themselves perfect in the sight of God. And it's the blood of the Lamb that did that. It's all symbolic. It's Jesus' sacrifice that allowed them to, that allowed us to have this time to be restored unto God. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. We're going to come back and talk about this again a little later, because the dates have changed quite a bit from what we originally believed. So the Feast of Passover, the Passover is still on the 14th. Everything else has changed. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day shall ye put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut out from Israel. Let's stop here, and we're going to go to Leviticus 23. And we're going to look at the changes in the dates. You know what? We're going to go back. We're going to stick to the plan. I'm going to just tell you, and then we're going to read through the scriptures that I've already selected and go in order. But let's read this, and then I will tell you the dates, and then as we go through the scriptures, we'll discuss it more. The Feast of Passover, the Passover was killed on the 14th at 9. We know, if you look at the illustration, that Jesus actually slept over the Sabbath. He was dead over the Sabbath. So the resurrection of the saints could not have happened until after the Sabbath. So if Jesus died on the 14th, on the 15th he rested. He was raised the first thing after the 15th, between even on the 15th. And then the saints would have been raised around that same time. Okay? Raised from the grave. The sanctification period for the living saints would have been from the 10th through the 15th at even, or the 16th. That's their 7-day purification period, right? On the 15th between even, that symbolizes the millennium. Now they're perfected and they go into the millennium perfect. They live through the millennium, and then the dead are raised right after that on the 16th, or right before the 16th. Okay, so you have, and thus they will begin their 7-day process of purification. That is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. So the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread is going to be represented by the living saints being resurrected. We know they couldn't be resurrected on the 14th or the 15th. It tells you on the 14th, kill the Passover. On the 15th, the day before the Feast of Unleavened Bread, you go, you find all of the unleavened, you find all the leaven in your house, you get rid of it. No more sin, okay? Then the Feast of Unleavened Bread actually begins at even on the 15th or the 16th. You're just hearing it for the first time. It's going to get clear, okay? And that is the 7-day purification for the dead who have been raised. So, from the 16th through the 22nd, that is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And you're going to see it. You will see it. And in the first day, there shall be a holy convocation. And in the 7th day, there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat. That only may be done of you. I want you to pay attention to this, because we're going to see it over and over and over again. I don't think they ever change it. And the reason why they change it is because they're trying too hard to hide something from you. I don't want to go into it yet. That's the memorial, but we're going to talk about it later. Okay? They want to hide the fact that this is a memorial to you. So they never ever put, not that I've come across, that this is a holy convocation. They always write it exactly like it is here. On the 14th, we're talking about the Passover here. It says this should be a memorial. They're talking about the Passover. Then it talks about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. 7 days ye shall eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put leaven out of your houses. For whosoever shall eat unleavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be a holy convocation, and in the 7th day there shall be a holy convocation to you. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat. That only must be done. They're talking about the first day of unleavened bread when the saints are resurrected. They're talking about the 7th day of unleavened bread when the saints are symbolizing the resurrection of the last day saints, which are raised at the end of the 7th day, at the end of the actual millennium. Okay? So you have those that are raised for the Passover at the beginning, and you have those that are raised symbolically on the 7th day at the end. This is also symbolized in this picture at the Passover, at the time of the Passover. This is also symbolized by the people of God leaving Egypt on that day. They would have left Egypt on that day, on the 21st, that morning, went into the wilderness and sacrificed unto God. They would have had it's an antitypical picture of the resurrection of the saints at the end of the 7-day cleansing period, at the end of the 7-day purification period. All of the people of God will now assemble together. I may have to do a video. I think I mentioned it before. I don't know. I may have to do a video on the solemn assembly, because I originally believed that there was a solemn assembly for each feast day. The solemn assembly has to be all of the saints. So you have an antitypical picture of it during the seventh day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, symbolically showing all of the people going out of Egypt in order to worship God. I know there's a scripture in Joel, if you want to look at it ahead, it says, assemble all of the congregation, assemble all of the elders. So every one of the children of God were assembled at that time. They all went out of Egypt together. And then you're going to see that same picture during the Feast of Tabernacles, where all of the saints will be resurrected. It will be the end of the 7-day purification period, and everyone goes up to God, assembling in front of God together. This is why you have a 7-day period in the Passover, a 7-day period in the Feast of Tabernacle, but no 7-day period for the Feast of Weeks, because there are no dead symbolized there. The living have already gone through their 7-day purification, and there's no need to do the celebration for the 7 days of the dead being resurrected. But they're hiding. I'll tell you what they're hiding. They are hiding that how do I put this? When you look at the patterns, you have, and this was the only, I couldn't get it at first. I couldn't work out this pattern, but this is the only way that it can be. There cannot be a glaring error in this pattern, as perfect as it is. Okay? And when you have your pattern here. You have your Holy Convocation on the first day. You have your Holy Convocation on the second day. 2 days of memorial, okay? For the first feast. Then you have your Feast of Weeks. Then you get down to the fall festival, and you have your Holy Convocation for the Day of Atonement. You have your Holy Convocation for the beginning of the Feast of Weeks. And then you have the 8th day. There's 3 there. But then there's this added memorial, and it's called the Feast of Trumpets. So I didn't want to get off, but I'm going to get off, because the Feast of Trumpets is not a real feast day. It's not. There's 3 holy days at the beginning of the year. There's 3 holy days at the end of the year. And then there's the 1 holy day in the middle of the year. The reason why I know that the Feast of Trumpet is not a real feast day is because they use the exact same words to describe the Feast of Trumpets. They say it's a memorial, but they never tell you what it is. All through the Bible, it tells you that this day is a memorial to you throughout your generations. We know exactly what this day is. This is the Passover. It is a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast unto the Lord throughout your generations. It couldn't be clearer. But then we go to Leviticus 23. Yes, I'm getting out of order, I know. But I'm not going to show you all of the scriptures right now. I'm just going to show you this one so that you can see. Where is it? I think I got it marked here somewhere. Literally tells you nothing about the Feast of Trumpets. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, ye shall have a Sabbath, a memorial blowing of the trumpets, and holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord. A memorial? Well, whatever do you mean? This is the first mention of the Feast of Trumpets. What are we supposed to be remembering? Nothing had happened on the first day of the 7th month, because the first day of the 7th month, I don't even think it had came when he got these orders. He got these orders, they tell us, on the 5th month. During the time of the to the Feast of Weeks. So now we're supposed to have a memorial of something that hasn't happened yet? No, no, no. This is not a real holiday. This is the holiday that they put in order to cover up the fact that the Passover is a real holiday. And that's why, as we look through them, this is why I was telling you that it goes through. It says it'll say on the 14th the Passover, and then it'll say unleavened bread, and it'll say this is a Holy Convocation and this is a Holy Convocation, but they won't attach it to the Passover. They won't attach it. So anyway, we'll look at the scriptures for that later on. But just so you know what's going on. That's what's going on. They lied about that too. They lied about everything. They just lied about everything. They lied about the dates. They lied about what was truly a holy day. They lied about. They changed all the dates. They changed all of them. And you shall observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of... Well, they didn't change all of them. They didn't change the date of the Passover. I haven't found any evidence that they changed the date of the Passover. Yeah, but it's from the... Well, you'll see. And we shall observe the Feast of Unleavened Bread, for in this selfsame day I have brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. And the Feast of Unleavened Bread is on the 22nd. This is correct. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even. Now, this at even is not between evens. It's just a regular at even. You shall eat unleavened bread, but it's not on the 14th day. The Feast of Unleavened Bread begins on the 15th at even. You take all of the unleavened out of your house on the 15th. The 14th, you kill the Passover. The 15th, you remove all the unleavened bread out of your house. And on the 15th at even, or the beginning of the 16th day, you do not eat any leaven at that point. It represents sin. So, on the first month, on the 14th day of the month, at even, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even. It's going to be the 22nd day of the month at even. They changed this. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think at the same time. I have to read that again. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from your congregation of Israel, whether he be a stranger or born in the land. So this, again, is a picture of this is a symbolic image of the big picture. Leaven representing sin. If you sin, then you're going to be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Israel represents the saints. So no matter who it is, if they eat leaven symbolically, then they're sinning. They're drawing a picture for us here. You shall eat nothing leavened in all your habitations, shall ye eat unleavened bread. And Moses called for all the elders of Israel and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And we talked about this in the previous video. This draw out means march out in front of the people and take a lamb according to the families and kill the Passover. They're marching out, parading the animal around, and everyone is looking at the lamb. Behold the Lamb of God, exactly the same as the picture that was drawn in the New Testament when Jesus rode into the temple on the back of an ass. And they started laying down palm tree branches and their coats and everything for him to walk upon. He entered as a king. And here, he's the king of the parade. Everyone is grateful for the sacrifice of the lamb. Only in the days of Jesus, they didn't know it. And you shall take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and strike the lintel and the 2 side posts with the blood that is in the basin, and none of you shall go out at the door of the house until the morning. So here they did retain some of the blood, and we looked at the image in the previous video of the lamb that was of the plague of leprosy. Some of the blood would have been retained. Hyssop is the common denominator. Hyssop, and I know I have a scripture in there for hyssop. Hyssop is the common denominator, which symbolizes the purging of the blood. Okay, so they dip hyssop in the blood, and then symbolically paint the blood over the doorpost, so that the angel of death could pass that house. All of this is just a symbolic picture of end times. That's what it's for. For the Lord will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintels and on the 2 side posts, the Lord will pass over the door and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto your houses to smite you. And ye shall observe this thing for an ordinance to thee and thy sons forever. I think that's all we need here. They shall say, it is the sacrifice of the Lord's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses, and the people bowed the head and worshipped. Okay, so you know what? We're going to stop here. Let's see what the next scripture is. Let's see what the first one is here. Okay, so we can read through this real quick. Leviticus 23:5. We actually are not going to read through this. We're going to stop here, and we will pick up in the next video, and then we're going to start looking at some of the other scriptures and the other readings that I selected in order to show the picture of the true Passover that was handed down to Moses. All right. I will see you in the next video.